So how was the rest of your high school career? What was that like? What were some of the big highlights from playing high school baseball? And, how did that turn out to be in the next 2 years?
Yeah, so after getting into kind of the strength and conditioning side, I felt like what it did was it got me on par with the rest of the state. It's like you kind of get in there, you see that you have what it takes. Like you see, it's like, okay, like I can play a little bit, like I can hang with them. And then once you're on par with them, it's like now you're back to competing. It's like, how do you get another edge? And from there, it's like the game, it gets a little more tricky because then you start having to learn, like, you have to learn the way that you're playing the game and pick apart the areas you can improve, know what you're doing well. Yeah, I guess that's kind of why like I almost developed like a very like a one track mind into like, okay, I'm a hitter, like that's how I identified because like I wasn't very good at fielding. Like I was super athletic and I would make those great plays, I was that player, but like I would boot routine plays. And then so for me, like if I could go back, I would totally like I wouldn't recommend that for players. It's like you want to play your strengths, but at the same time, it's like you got to make sure you're keeping up in all areas. It's like once one gets neglected, like you feel like you can put it off or and like you're gonna get away with it. But where that area that you leave behind, like it always comes back to bite you. And it happened in like it happens on the field in the weight room. It's like not getting the core posture right. It always comes back eventually.
Yes. And that is very introspective that you shared that, you knew what your strengths were, and then you may have overworked your strengths, but it did get you very far, right? But then how you said neglecting some of the weak spots, because no matter what it is that we're doing or working at, no one really, really enjoys working on the weaknesses. But I think it goes back
Yeah,
to the first thing that you said is that when you work on something and it translates to your performance, then again you're hooked, right? So I think that's a good message to all of the younger athletes, especially someone that's playing baseball, because it's such a well-rounded sport, meaning that you need strength, you need power, but you need the fine-tuned skills. You can't just have a cannon for an arm, but you can't hit any target within within 90 feet, right? Then it's like useless, all of that power. So you need to work on some of the really small details that help to translate to your performance in baseball. And I think for any athlete listening, whatever your sport is, try to work on everything to create a better balance so that you're more athletic and it translates to the field. And it sounds like later on, maybe we all kind of learned that a little bit more in depth, but later on, you kind of took that to heart. And even now, you work on all of these things that really tie into your whole body so that you can function as well as you possibly can.